welcome to Scorched Earth. This is going to be a reading for the month of May for the sign of Libra, Sun, Moon and Ascendant. If you don't know what your Moon or Ascendant signs are, have a look in the description box below. There's a link down there that will help you find your birth chart for free. And then you should come back and watch the videos for your Moon and Ascendant signs, because often you find that they resonate. They can resonate more than your Sun sign does, actually. But they certainly speak to different aspects of your life, so it can give you a more coherent picture as to what's going on with you overall than you might get from just watching the videos for your Sun sign. I totally messed these cards up, so I'm just straightening them up while I talk to you. What else do I have to tell you? My books are now open for personal readings. I know I've kind of been hit with, well, kind of been slammed with requests, actually. I think there are still a few slots open for the next couple of months, but if that's something you're interested in, there's a link to my scheduler down there. It's a very easy process now, so that's all good. Put that the right way around. What else? Thank you if you have already booked a reading and you were subject to some of the teething issues that I had with the scheduler. Initially, that was just like the people that booked in the first 12 hours of it being open. That is all now resolved, so hopefully that's all good going forwards. Well, no, it's working fine now, so that's excellent. Thank you to the people who turned up to the live stream. I had so much fun. I'm definitely going to be doing it again, but I will give you more notice next time. I think I'd only done like 4 hours notice or something, so I was pleasantly surprised by the number of people that turned up, and I was there for 4 hours. I ended up having to beg leave to go to bed. But it was great and I loved it, so I'll definitely be doing that again. And as ever, thank you so much for, liking the videos and sharing them and subscribing, commenting, sending me messages, all that. I've had some really lovely messages of late and I really appreciate it. And thank you for all the donations. It really does make a difference. It really helps. It helps a lot and I appreciate you for it, so thank you. So, Libra, let's get you some cards. I have 3 cards for Libra in May. There's the first one. It's really interesting that came up. It's 5 of Earth. I just a second ago was I like, shall I tell them what came up in the meditation before I started the reading, or shall I just wait and see if it becomes relevant? And I'm going to mention it anyway. What I felt was uncertainty, quite strongly, kind of wobbling from side to side a little bit. So to see a 5 come up is not really a surprise to me. I have 2 more cards for Libra. Got the Devil. It's a card of Capricorn in the Major Arcana. And the Sun. That's brilliant. That's really, really good. That's the card of Leo in the Major Arcana. At the bottom of the deck, we've got another card of Leo. We've got Strength, and that's excellent. Oh, I've just got goosebumps as well. That's been happening a lot this morning. I've been doing lots of readings today, and yes, so yeah, okay. I'm going to clarify with the Wildwood, which is a deck that I have had for probably a year and not used for a single YouTube reading. And then yesterday it was just like, use me, you need to use me. So that's what I'm doing, and it's been awesome. So I'm pleased to see that. Let's give them a quick shuffle. So why is this? Right. We've got the 3 of Bows that's come out, but it come out in reverse. It came out in reverse. So we'll get to that. Why is the 5 of Earth here for Libra, please? What's the 5 of Earth here for Libra? Come on, I just bigged you up. Don't be doing this to me. Where's the 5 of Pentacles here for Libra, please? There's the one. King of Stones. It's the King of Pentacles in a standard deck. What an amazing depiction. The thing is, because I've had them for such a long time and I haven't used them for any of the YouTube readings, I'm actually quite unfamiliar with all of the artwork that's on the deck. Like, obviously I looked through it when I first got it, but I haven't really used it that much. And I'm really liking just being presented with new imagery. It's really exciting. What about the Devil? Why is the Devil here for Libra? We've got 2 cards there. we've got the 9 of Stones and the 8 of Vessels. So that's the 9 of Pentacles and the 8 of Cups. And tell me about the Sun. Why is the Sun here for Libra, please? First card is the Green Man. That's the Emperor in a standard deck. Tell me about the Sun. Why is the Sun here, please? And the Seer, which is the High Priestess. At the bottom of the deck, we've got the 5 of Stones, which is the 5 of Pentacles, again. Followed by the 2 of Stones, which is the 2 of Pentacles. Interesting. So, Libra, let's have a look at this. So, this first card is in your recent energy, right? It's kind of like the recent past touching onto the present. And what we've got here is the 5 of Earth. Now, all fives, so if you've watched any of my videos before, I'm going to bang on about numbers, but numbers are really, really important, right? Because the 5 energy is inherently unstable, right? It talks of instability. If the 4s are your foundation, building things up, right? The 5 is the energy that comes along and kind of bombs out. And it destabilizes everything, but it does it for a purpose, right? It's not just to punish you. It's a kind of a honing and refining of what it is that you're doing, right? And often this is an uncomfortable change. But by the time you get to the 6, you're kind of moving away from that, older and wiser and all that kind of thing. But you know, with a better sense of what it is that you're trying to achieve. Now, the 5 of Pentacles talks about poverty and lack of any description, right? So this can be financial, it can be emotional, it can be, you know, time. It's anything that you consider to be a resource. And I would say your personal energy is a resource. And so there's been a destabilization in resources of somewhere, or a fear, and that's an important thing, and a fear of destabilization of resources. So it could be financial. You could have been worrying about money, or it could have been just that you're so fucking drained. You know, maybe you had, you know, fairly good energy levels for a while, but then all of a sudden it just went, and you're just feeling really weighed down with the weight of everything. But this is where the uncertainty that I was feeling was coming in, right? It's a sense of not really knowing which direction to go in, right? That's what I feel quite strongly from this. You know, sort of having a thought, having an idea, maybe that's the thing, don't know. It's unstable, right? You haven't really known where you were going. And so it wasn't a surprise to me at all to see the 3 of Wands, or the 3 of Bows as it is here, coming out in reverse, because the 3 of Wands speaks to me of expansion often, right? Because we've done the crossroads bit, which is the 2. You know, we've kind of thought about everything, we've made our plans, we've made our decisions about which way we're going to go. And then the 3 is when we kind of action that in the 3D, right? It's an active, external energy. And this can sometimes talk about travel. That's possible. It's a fairly flat interpretation, but it's a possible thing. And, you know, maybe you booked a holiday and you couldn't go, something like that, right? But that doesn't tend to be my particular style of reading. It's about getting that energy out into the world, right? And I'm coming back to energy again. Like, I really feel like there was a power down with you. Like, you just kind of felt like you were pulled down, because when it's this way up, it's talking about not being able to expand. It's not being able to do all of these things, you know. It's not being able to externalize all of these things that you decided. And I really feel like there's an energy component of this for you, right? Powered down, kind of made to stop, and not in a kind of restful way. Like, it's probably been quite exhausting, I would think, and very frustrating. I'm certainly taking up a lot of mental energy as much as anything else because of the worry that's been associated with it. But interestingly enough, we've got the King of Stones that comes out after this. Now, this is strictly the card of Taurus, right? It's the King of Pentacles. And it's the pinnacle of the Pentacle suit. So we're talking about somebody who's quite successful. And this could be a person, or it could be an energy, right? We'll see it either way. If it's a person, it could be that this is the person who has kind of pulled your energy down a little bit. But if it's not, if it is just purely an energetic thing, it could be that this, you've been striving so hard for this, you know, which is kind of accomplished in a material sense, right? It's having all of those things around you that feel comfortable, that make your life a pleasant place to live in the 3D. You know, it's enough money to pay your bills, certainly, but it's a bit left over to do nice things as well. Energetically, it could be that that's been what you've been striving for, and there have been obstacles that have been put in your way that have been stopping you from doing that. I'm going to pull a clarifier because I'd like to know kind of which way around it is. Tell me about this King of Stones, please. What's the King of Stones here, Libra? Got the Tower, card of Scorpio in the Major Arcana. Ooh, goodness, my stomach's gurgling. Tell me about the King of Pentacles. Yeah. So we've got the Two of Cups now. There. So that could be something. This could be a relationship with an earth sign that's had some sort of sudden and unforeseen change, like whether that's a relationship coming in or a relationship exiting. That's a possible thing. But energetically speaking, this could just speak of the isolation that you've been feeling from the lockdown. You know, like half the planet is in lockdown at the moment. Like these interpersonal relationships don't have to be romantic. Remember, these can be platonic. These are just how we engage with people who are on our level. You know, so our friendship groups, our family, often that sort of thing. You know, the shocking and sudden things coming in that then prevent us from being able potentially to look after our nearest and dearest, because this is the other thing that the King of Pentacles does up. You know, he's a provider. He's somebody who takes care of, you know, his family. Remember, it doesn't have to be a man, it can be a woman as well. You know, but it's somebody who shows up. It's somebody who's got a very strong sense of duty and responsibility, and they execute it to the best of their abilities, and it gives them genuine joy to do so. You know, it could be feeling so dissociated from your, you know, support network and everything that you hold dear, and those people that you personally support, that it's kind of left you feeling really, really trapped, really restricted, unable to do anything. I'm kind of sitting in this unstable, uncertain energy. Now, in your current energy, we've got the Devil, and that's the card of Capricorn in the Major Arcana, but it's also a card that talks about fear, right? It can talk about a lot of things. It can talk about, you know, toxicity and codependency and abuse, substance abuse, alcohol abuse, anything that gets done to excess, effectively. But underpinning it, right, is a feeling of being trapped by one's own fears, right? And often those fears are kind of slightly irrational. You know, we fear a thing, okay? But actually, in reality, that thing does not have that level of power that we suspect that it does. Like, we effectively hand that power over to our fear, and we say, yeah, okay, you can dictate how I move forwards. And it's clarified by the Nine of Stones and the Eight of Vessels. And here too, it's almost like an extension of what's come before up here, because the Nine of Stones, or the Nine of Pentacles, is a card of independence and self-sufficiency. Right? It's actually a glorious card. It's a really, really good one, but it is a card of often being alone. Right? It's solo living. And in its, you know, most positive aspect, it's about being able to do all of those things for yourself. You know, it makes a nice counterpart to the king there. You know, it's a similar sort of energy, but instead of it being other people that you're caring for, it's just like you. It's all kind of you-centered, taking care of you. The reason that I say it's like an extension is because we've got then the Eight of Vessels, which is the Eight of Cups in the standard deck, and that talks about. It talks about moving away from things that no longer emotionally serve you, but what I'm also feeling is a kind of sense of being afraid of being left behind by those that you actually care about, which, if this is resonating with you, I'm sorry about that. But I feel like it's a fear rather than the reality. You know, I already said that before I even started looking at this card properly. What about the Nine of Stones and the Eight of Vessels? Yeah. See, at the bottom of the deck, we've got the Three of Cups, and this is sort of kind of pulling me towards an interpretation of you wanting to be reunited with those that you really, really care about, because there's two cards that have come up here. Again, you have solo figures on each of the cards. You know, these are people who are isolated and alone. And it feels uncomfortable and it feels uncertain. If this is not you, if that's not what it is that you're worrying about, then this is potentially a fear of being able to look after yourself and pay the bills and all of these kind of things. You know, we're talking about it materially, right? And this is an issue for a lot of people. You know, am I going to be able to do this, that, and the other? Am I going to be able to pay the bills? Am I going to be able to do this, that, and the other? And the Eight of Cups could well be, you know, kind of exhorting you, exhorting, hi, to recognise it for what it is, that it's a worry, it's a concern, it's a fear, but it doesn't necessarily have its basis in reality, because we've got the High Priestess is sitting directly underneath the Eight of Cups for me, and it's like, she is alone, but she's not uncomfortable with it. I mean, she's just kind of looking at her own reflection. Maybe if there's discomfort in the solitude that you're experiencing at the moment, maybe question why it makes you feel so uncomfortable. I mean, aside from the obvious, aside from being separated for those that we know and love, but a lot of people have an issue with being left alone with their own thoughts. And I wonder, Libra, if that's maybe what is troubling you at the moment, because this woman is sat naked and vulnerable and looking at her reflection in the water like she's completely laid bare, right? But she likes what she sees. Yeah, she likes the inside of her head. She likes the solitude. She likes to be able to know herself on that kind of level. And there's a resistance that I'm feeling there, ever so slightly, from you about doing the same. Now, I would posit that this is a really good, the lockdown is a really good use of time for you to get to know yourself on that sort of level. Personally speaking, it's what I've done, and I know a lot of people have done the same. But lean into the discomfort. You know, something makes you uncomfortable, lean into it. Try and find out what it is that is causing that, because, you know, we all miss friends and family and all that kind of thing, but ultimately this is all keeping us safe, and that's, you know, that's why it's happening. Maybe, I mean, not get into that, but, you know, keep that front and center if you're feeling low, if you're feeling, you know, too isolated from everything else. Use it as an opportunity to get to know yourself a little bit better. But the good news is that it picks up towards the end, because we've got the sun here at the end. Now, it could possibly, you know, your travel that you were worrying about may well happen in May. If you've got something planned, maybe it will, maybe it won't. If you've got a Leo around you, maybe they're going to give you some, you know, joy in some respect, because the sun is a very, very positive card. It's the most positive card in the deck. It's just innocent, pure joy, right? It's proper inner child stuff there, actually, and maybe a bit of getting to know yourself will uncover your inner child for you. But it is clarified by the Green Man and the Seer, which is the High Priestess, second time she's been out there now. So this is the card of Pisces, and this is the card of Aries. Again, if the signs are important to you, then all the good. If that's not relevant, then we're going to look at it energetically. The Emperor is somebody who is, frankly, he's on top of his shit, right? He's got an empire to run, and he knows that people are relying on him, and he keeps everything together for that reason. It enables him to make the best decisions for the most amount of people, all that kind of thing. But he has to have a lot of faith in himself to be able to do that, right? He cannot be second-guessing himself all the time. And the Emperor is the King of Kings, so right, we've got the King of Pentacles here. Right? This is kind of like a step up. It's major arcana things. And it's possible that your newfound positivity that occurs in the month of May is you kind of really getting yourself together and understanding that there are people around you that need you to do so. Sorry, I'm just drawn to this. I'm looking at this imagery and it's really, really fascinating. There's a big cauldron with a fire lit underneath it. And it's interesting that there's fire there. Right? We've got Aries here, fiery. Leo there, fiery. And there's this warming up of a pot. He's creating something. He's got a big horn in his hand. It's like, and horns, I see horns as communication, we're blowing on them, like tooting away and stuff, right? Maybe levels of communication will increase, and that enables you to kind of get on top of things a little bit more. There's something here. Because the water's in the cauldron, and the water is feelings and emotions and stuff like that. And the horn is literally being introduced to the top. It's almost kind of not there, not quite there. It's not submerged into the water. It's just kind of sitting atop it. So we've got all this water and emotion down here, right, boiling away. And then we've got this horn that's kind of like a method of communication for the water. Who knows if there's maybe sound coming out of this horn at this point. But the water's warming up because there's a fire underneath it. Maybe there's something about this experience which is going to enable you to be able to speak your feelings more clearly than you've been able to do before. This little bit of time on your own, getting to know yourself, getting to understand yourself, putting you in touch with your feelings enables you to communicate more warmly with those that are near and dear to you. That's a possibility. And then we've got the seer, or the high priestess. And like I said, she's number 2, so she's very much in charge of an internal space, and she's full of knowledge and wisdom. Major arcana, card of Pisces. But she's quite passive. She's exceeded in passivity only by the Hanged Man. But she's comfortable in the silence. She's comfortable in the quiet. Fuck. And there's a sense of you achieving that comfort, finally. Oh, this is interesting. What have we got here? Yeah. There's something rather magical coming up for you, actually. So we've got 6 cards for this end bit here, and 5 of them are major arcana, which is a big deal, right? And the other one, the minor arcana card, is the 3 of Wands, but it's come out this way up, right? Here's that expansion. Here's that moving out into the 3D. And this might not be a physical thing, although we can absolutely see the Sun and the 3 of Wands together, indicating travel of some description. But it's like that expansion that you were looking for will occur. And bring with it some opportunities, right? We've got the Wheel of Fortune and the Magician together, right? And that seems to indicate things coming in for you, certainly, but the things that you have manifested, you must have aligned yourself quite well in order to be able to throw that out into the universe and have the universe respond. And I find it interesting that we've got fire and water, and a card that I associate with activity, and then a card that I associate with passivity and lack of activity. Right? That's a balance. Libra, that's what you're always striving for, right? It's comfort with the silence, it's comfort with the internal space, but it's the ability to strategize and execute with those things that you want to in the external, right? It's the perfect balance of masculine and feminine energies, actually, is what it is. And that, for you, is a very happy place, because you are all about balance all the time. And as soon as you get balanced, you're going to bring something fairly spectacular into you. The Wheel of Fortune and the Magician together, that's not a combination to be sniffed at. And particularly with this Three of Wands, which is, you know, at this side reversed and this side it's coming the right way up. Tell me more about the Wheel of Fortune and the Magician, please. Wheel of Fortune and the Magician. Well, I think that fucking says it all, actually. So the card that twirled out there was the Fool, right? This is moving forwards without baggage and much lighter, because you're comfortable with your internal space, I think. But there's movement here implied also, right? Whatever energy you've been stuck in that's been kind of stagnant, a bit stuck, feeling restricted, feeling fearful, you're shedding it very, very soon. And at the bottom of the deck, we've got the Page of Pentacles, which to me speaks of a solid new start in the 3D as well, right? It's more Pentacle cards that you have been kind of worrying about. It seems like everything's just going to come together for May, which is really exciting, I think. But this is kind of like an uncomfortable energy that you have to work your way through in order to get out the other end and get your Fool. Fool is a lovely card to finish on. I really, really like that. So I'm going to leave it there, Libra. I don't feel like you really need an extended, particularly. But if I change my mind in the 30 seconds after I stop rolling this video, there will be a link in the description box, because I'll have done it and uploaded it and linked it and all that kind of thing. So I'm going to leave it there and have a muse on it. If the video has resonated, I'd love it if you'd like it. If you want to subscribe, that would be perfect also. But if not, I'll see you again in a couple of weeks for the mid-month.